So this is Larry the Barber Man. I'm here at the Wahl Academy with Simon Shaw, the European Artistic Director of the Wahl Company. Just having an interview with Simon to find out a little bit how he started, where he's going and what his job actually entails. So Simon, you probably have the most coveted job in the barbering and hairdressing industry. Tell me exactly where you started and how you started with Wahl.
Okay, well, I think first of all, thank you. Thank you for coming down to interview us here. I like your little analogy that it's a bit like Las Vegas, Herne Bay. It's in the middle of nowhere, but when you get there, it's really cool. I don't think people who live in Herne Bay would class it as Las Vegas. It's like Las Vegas on steroids. I love the analogy as well is that this job that I have is one of the most coveted jobs in British barbering. I'm very fortunate, and I think that drives me forward, that I realise that. Not a lot of people, unless they're very close to me, realise how hard I work and travelling and commitments that I've done with my family, being away from home quite a lot, what this job has entailed. So when I've got it, I surround myself with really strong people, so it keeps me driving forward. But I do agree with you, so many people come up to me, so many people want to be on our team. People who I don't even want to mention on camera because they're with other companies. I think Wahl is the jewel. People want to be working with Wahl, being seen on our stages, and I suppose then they all want to do probably my job as well. How it all started was a little bit weird. I was working for a big group in the north of England, Dimensions. I started there in 1985, 86, so I did the math. And I was an hairdresser, and I started doing some shows for Goldwell, and I was doing photo shoots, and I was getting front covers of Hairdressers Journal, and I was doing lots of hairdressing shows with Goldwell. And then they opened up their academy in Mayfair in 1995, right in the centre of London, and it was on Sackville Street. It was a fantastic building. It had Adams ceilings and it had a beautiful academy. It was the all singing and dancing thing at that point. And from 95 up to being about 2000, I did something like 300 courses for them. I was their most, I say the Yorkshire word, I was their most used presenter. I would say that the other words would, I was one of their most popular presenters. Okay. And within that period and within that journey working in central London, I met a guy who worked for Wahl, who at that time was the professional sales manager in the UK. And he asked me to go on and do some exhibition work. He said it wouldn't conflict with the wet products that you use, which at that time, there weren't as many presenters now. There's more presenters now out there than there is bleeding barbers working behind a chair. At that time, we were few and far between. So I started doing a little bit for Wahl, going back to Dimensions, doing my Go Well thing, and then Wahl started asking me to do more exhibitions. And then in 1999, they asked me to come and open up and devise an academy. We were always successful, but they wanted to educate people to use clippers. So as I said to you off camera, we started off in 2002 with 2 courses, basic men's and advanced men's. And if you look 14 years down the road, how many courses are out there? But you've been in there today, Larry. It's fully packed out with stylists. We're still the numero uno to be there. It's like coming to Old Trafford. It's like coming to Man U, you know.
Yeah, you've got all the best tools and dummies.
All the non-Man U fans out there will be like, no, it's not. Do you know what I mean? But from my point of view, I think if you use Wahl clippers at some point in your career, you should come to Wahl. We look after people. You know, it's not just about coming in the academy. You've just seen when they got the certificates, there's a real presence about being at Wahl and doing your course and getting your certificate. So that's how it started. The journey started back then.
Okay. And what do you do on an average day? What do you do generally and on an average day, being the European Artistic Director?
So if we look at last week and this week, let's just do as good as your last game. Okay. So last Monday, I was in Hereford at Aston and Finch's, one of our big, massive professional accounts. And they're one of our biggest professional training accounts as well. So they do lots of training courses with us. So I was in Hereford on Monday last week. I was in Belfast Tuesday, and I went over to Belfast after. So I did the seminar in Hereford. I went over to Belfast Tuesday to meet Dee Graham, the tailor, who makes all the guys suits for Salon International and all our shows. And he's going to come on to Pro Air Live in February next year and to do some tailoring and stuff like that. I flew back then from Belfast. On Tuesday, I did a seminar for about 80 people at Bolton College. Then I went back home Wednesday night from Bolton, and then I got the train into Central London last Thursday, where I did an in-store demonstration in Debenhams for the start of Christmas shopping on our consumer range. I was joined there by 2 guys from Ted's Grooming Room, our barbershop of the year, Mortimer Street. So we had Eric and Chummer that came from Ted's, and they did some cuts with us all day, and we had a few celebrities that popped in, and we just did haircuts all day. And then Friday went back to Yorkshire and started to repack my stuff, and then I came down to Kent on Sunday and I did a 2-day course here, Monday, Tuesday. Tomorrow I'm doing a shaving course. And then Thursday, where am I this Thursday? I don't know, but I'm flying back out at weekend to Ireland. So I'll just give you a snapshot of the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's every day, most weekends, Hannah said to me, Hannah's my PA, she was quite giddy this morning when she spoke to me. She went, look how busy it is for next year already. And then I look at it and think, fantastic. But then I look at every Monday for probably 35 weeks where I can't really have a great weekend because Monday, I've got to be somewhere. So Sundays, you're travelling off somewhere. Yeah. So all these that want my job, they probably do it for about 4 weeks and then nah, this is not for me.
So it's funny you should say that, because I was watching an interview the other day with Simon Cowell, who I kind of see you as being similar to in the clipper industry, and his schedule is 18 months in advance, and he kind of says the same thing, unless you love what you do, you couldn't continue with an 18-month schedule. So that means you literally have to plan what little holidays you can get.
I am, and sometimes you just said that. Somebody said something to me last week about you're very intimidating. I'm very intimidating when I'm in a room or when I speak to people in a certain manner. People know that I'm in. Me and you spoke a few times over different subjects in the past, and you know that I don't mince my words. I say it as it is, but I say it to you. And I think people don't, I would hope that people don't leave me ever thinking, what does he think about? I think you should know when you're with me exactly what you are. And, Larry, one of the things that I do think about is that, like you've just said there, look at the 35 weeks. I'm committed to doing that next year. So there's not a bone in my body wants to think, as long as I can, have some nice times with my daughter and my grandchildren, go see my son who's a professional footballer. If I have to travel then back away on a Sunday because it's my job, well, you've got to do it. I'm committed to do it.
Yeah. So we're here at the Wahl Academy. What do you do personally in terms of education for Wahl?
Okay, so one of my jobs is to devise and to write the courses where I feel's right at the moment, what people are thirsty for out there, what do people need. There's always a thirst for basic education. People just want to know. Sometimes you've seen in there today. You were there. Yeah. They're all hairdressers. They're all coming from some big salons in there, so a couple of girls in there from Rush. But the gents' education side and the new era of barbering still lacking some education, so lots of basic education. So my job is to write the courses, come up with funky names for the courses that we have over the years, and select the right educators. So to get into the Wahl team, it's quite tough. That's Michael Damiano, it took him 2 or 3 years to get in. But once you're in and you do the job, you get well looked after. So my job is to educate, to write the courses, and to select the right people to educate the right courses. So, we're Five and Michael and Joth and Cal Blake. They're all different skill levels, and it's my job to orchestrate them with Anna doing all the proper, mopping up behind me, kind of thing.
That's your education team. What do you personally do in terms of like the students that come in? Just because I saw what you do, to kind of tell people what they could expect if they come onto in a classroom environment with yourself. Yeah.
First of all, I'm awesome. And secondly, my job, I would do all the courses. I'm not as good, and this is a plus here. And all you young bowers out there, listen to what I'm going to tell you. I'm not as good as Michael at some of the stuff, or Carl, or Five, but I admit it. So I select the right people to do what's that better than me. But I do, as I said to you before, I can, like today's been a classic men's 2 days, so just showing them how to do basic haircuts. So day one I did 6 different haircuts for them and showing them all different types of hairlines, how to do your layers, how to get some nice square edges, how to use a cut throat to finish off, how to use the finale. And then they've repeated that by doing 4 haircuts today. So I would say my main forte is, though, when I do the evening seminars, so if you go to Alan Howard's in Stockport, if you go to Birmingham, to Aston and Finch's, where they've got 70 or 80 people in there, or 100 people in there, it's 3 haircuts. Just fashion men's, or maybe 2 men's and a woman's haircut with clippers, Flickin Smack, bit of music, entertainment. There's nobody better. I just feel I mix hairdressing, barbering and entertainment all together.
Okay. So you're actually more talented than Simon Cowell because you're actually an executive in the sense you do the haircuts and you are, in a sense, a talent spotter or a talent judge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Simon Cowell's, and I think the way he's done it. I just wish that what I did paid as much as what he gets for what he does. Because I'd be laughing then, wouldn't I?
It'd be quite interesting to see how much the 2 industries are worth side by side.
I was talking to a guy, I'm not going to mention any names, I was talking to a barber, and he said, I want to do this and that. I said, what do you want to get out of it? And he said, well, I just want a mansion and a swimming pool. And I don't think people realise how hard it is. And I'll give you, for instance, I have my own product range with Wahl, Simon Shaw Wahl Academy. And I've had that since 2006, so 10 years. Professional hairdresser, professional barber, with his own professional range for the professionals to buy, that's grown every year for 10 years. I don't know anybody else that's done that. Mostly you see hairdressers who do what I do, are barbers, and it's in TK Maxx, it's in Boots, it's in Argos. Mine's for the professionals. And I look at, what we do with this, and it's like, this guy said to me, I want a mansion and a swimming pool. I think Wahl's top of our game. Larry, you were at Salon International. It's one of the biggest stands, the biggest audience. So let's say I go up to Glasgow to do a seminar, and there's 40 people on. 15 people might buy a Simon Shaw clipper. So let's say I were just thinking, all right, I'll just have a £1 clipper. It's like 16 quid for all that work going up to Glasgow. I don't think people realise how hard a work it is to not only get a product range, but then to go out and promote it well, and to expect, what kind of royalties do you expect? It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah, you have to be selling to across the world and large quantity. You've got to have a number of serious distributors.
Absolutely. So, I have got a small mansion, a small pool. Can't carry on.
I get your drift. Tell me a bit about the haircut that you just spoke about, the Flickin Smack. How did you develop this? What was the...
It's funny, I was out in America in just after 9/11. That happened in the September, and I was out in Chicago in the December. And the guy in America at that time who did what I did, called Nick Altamore, we devised a texture blade. And the way he was using it to take out weight and to thin out hair and to put a bit of texture in. But he used it in a way that weren't attractive. It looked like too bulky. So I came back and worked with it, and I listened to, Johnny Barber's a good mate of mine from Barber, and he tells me that 2 days a week in his kitchen he cuts hair at home.
Yeah, in his boxer shorts.
In his boxer shorts, not in his Vans. And he's a great guy. And I came back and worked on it on my own in here, just mastered it till I thought, I flicked the comb, followed it with a clipper. And then by accident once, we're in South Africa, me and Colin Danks, and I asked the DJ to turn the music up while I was doing it, because you actually need rhythm to do it, and that's where Cut to Music came from, and the rest is history. So that's Flickin Smack.
Okay. So we've spoken a lot about work. Tell me how Simon Shaw relaxes outside of the hair industry. What's your thing?
This is not going to be a cliche, and I know, looking at you, and I'm looking straight in your eyes, you know that I'm going to be honest when I say this. I'm a very, very difficult person to be around in terms of relaxing. I never switch off. You know, my girlfriend tells me I'm really hard work to be with. Sometimes it's absolutely fantastic. Sometimes it's crap. But she continually tells me that work has just a massive part in my life. But to relax, I have 2 beautiful children. My daughter Brittany, who's 27 now. Brittany's got 3 beautiful children, my grandchildren, Zyra, Rhea and Ethan, in that order. And they're fantastic. So when I have them and when I see them, you kind of forget everything. You know, it don't really matter. They're my audience, and if I please them, that gives me more pleasure than anything else. And I love spending time with my daughter. And then my son Alexander, he's a professional footballer at Leeds United. And what a guy, what a man. So watching him play football is a massive relaxing. I'm not relaxed because I said to him last week, when I watch you play football, I'm knackered afterwards because I kicked every ball with you. You know, you sat in stands and I get up and my body's tight because I've been kicking every ball with him. So to my kids, you know, massive. And then I've got a beautiful girlfriend who I love spending time with as well. She's a great sense of, she relaxes me. I'm far more relaxed when I'm with her than when I'm not. She fetches you right back down to earth as well afterwards. So, you know, cooking, I like cooking, as you can see. I like to eat as well. So
don't forget to plug the kitchen range.
Yes, I like to cook with all our James Martin SDA range of products, which are available at Boots Saga. So yeah, my children, my grandchildren, and my girlfriend, within whatever they do, whether that's having kids, going football, or just chilling out with my girlfriend, those are the kind of things that I like to do, and that's what relaxes me.
Okay, so it's work and family,
yeah,
basically. Cool.
Yeah.
So Simon, you travel all over the world and the country. Which region or country is of particular interest to you right now, and why?
There is no particular country. I'm very fortunate to travel, you know, lots of exotic places as well. Professionally, we've only scratched the surface with India. I've been out on 3 tours now to India, and we're still not even. There's just so much more to do in India, and I think as a company we're trying to find out what's the best format. We've been going in at the top end, but I think there's a whole new market at the other end of the spectrum for basic barbers as well out in India. So that kind of intrigues me, and we're working on a project between me and the States to go out there and educate India. Okay. Privately, I just love Dubai.
Have you seen anywhere where you think that there's some like real unidentified up-and-coming talent?
Lots of European stuff now's got a lot better. They used to be miles behind us. You used to go out to the seminars to like Italy and France and Germany, and the barbering skills were like weak. Now they're strong. You know, the guys who I'm working with, you know, the guys out in Cologne, Gentlemen's Club, Elmar and Felix, you know, the guys in Italy, Davide, Marco Fedetto, fantastic barbers, you know, the guys at Le Clique in Paris, real strong. So we've always dadded it, we've always been the boss, but they're coming up, Europe's up and coming.
Okay. And you travel with your artistic team. Tell me their kind of function and purpose when they travel with you to these big shows across Europe and India and all some of the names that you've mentioned. So,
I think, you know, if I've got Michael with me, he gives you a great energy on stage. I feel a bit like Alex Ferguson when I talk about my team, but Michael gives me a great energy around me, gives me a great vibe and a great buzz, and you can throw him in as your attacker. He'll go and attack an audience in a positive way, and then it allows me to come in and strut your stuff and not to have to take the main role, because I know he's gonna, and I push him up, and he really came to fruition in 2011 in Bangalore. I've got a great memory for this, and he went on stage, and we split our time on stage, and he went on just before lunch, and as he came off stage, I said to him, that's you, you've landed. You've been with me 3 years, you've landed. And I kept telling him, you've landed. And even now when I see him, Bangalore, you landed. He's a great presenter. If you've ever seen the lad,
that's the young boy.
Italian lad.
Okay, yeah.
And I also take him as well because he's great eye candy. You know, so yeah, Five's got that star quality. You know, you all think you're doing well till Five tells you his clientele list and shows you photographs on his phone of all the personalities that he cuts and stuff. And then Blakey, you know, Blakey, we can take Blakey into places where he can pull out an old school flat top freehand. So they've all got different skill levels. Joth's great for when we go into colleges and to doing a real method of way how to cut hair with section clips and an old school method of you know, men's hairdressing, barbering. So they've all got different function, different skills, and I use them accordingly.
Okay. And let's say there was someone out there that wanted to become a Joff Davis or a Fife or a Carl, or, you know, what do they have to do?
Well, if you speak to Anna, she keeps telling me every day that the kind of people who we need to get back to, the people who send emails, the people who phone us up, and all these guys, you know, are on our radar. You've interviewed a lot of them. It's trying to keep them happy as well. It's trying to, you know, they want to play in the first team. And I know all of you out there. I can't put you all in, and I'm not going to put you in unless I feel you're better than what I've got. So, you know, there's lots of people out there, and they're doing the right things. You know, your David Walkers, your Darren Pittmans, the people who are doing real good stuff out there. They are noticed, but it's just getting the right time when I can bed them in and equally get them in. And then there's another tier of barbers out there who, you know, are even on a higher level. And, you know, Johnny from Barber, you know, we're looking at doing some stuff with him in 2017. And then on the hairdressing side, I've got Hooker and Young coming in as style creative directors. You know, that's a massive move, one of the biggest ones in British hairdressing.
What have you got them coming in for? I feel like there's a product up your sleeve.
There is a product on the sleeve. We announced it at Salon International on the 4 o'clock show on the Sunday for all press that were available, that Hooker and Young will be coming on as our creative directors in 2017. And they're coming on to endorse a range of products that we're fetching out, which is styling. I can't say what products they are, but 2017, early 2017, probably first quarter, you'll start to see them hit you know, the professional market. And two great guys, you know, if you're a football manager, it's like signing two massive names. So we're really excited and proud to have those guys involved with Wahl, and I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward just to being with them and learning off of myself.
Okay, it's always a good thing, having such a high level of a team around you. You will
Definitely.
Learn. Okay, so I've kind of been watching the evolution of barber tools, and I'm seeing that there's a strong shift from corded tools to cordless tools, owing to the fact that the power is negligible between the two now. Tell me some of the feedback that you're getting from your clients on this new range of cordless tools, lithium tools in particular.
Great question to ask us. You know, for years we've toured with people that will continue to use a corded product because they think there's more power in it because it's plugged in. And we are trying to tell them by the movement of the motor, the revolutions, it's doing the same revolutions, the blade's moving the same time per minute as what it is if it's plugged in. Now with the introduction into, so that's one thing. Secondly, well, it runs out halfway through an haircut. Now the introduction into lithium in our products means that, you know, things like the finale, you can plug it in within 10 minutes. You know, you've got 25 minutes running time out of it. You know, it's just phenomenal, the quick charge time in lithium. So the feedback we're getting, especially on the 5-star products, you know, like the Magic Clip Cordless and those products and the finales, that is, you know, they're loving them. They've got the same power and they're quick charging. So we're getting great feedback, and we're trying to convert some of the old schools barbers who always use a super taper, always use a Sterling tool, always use a Magic Clip corded. You know, we're trying to educate them, and we're trying to stop them zero gapping the blades, and so we're hopefully getting there. We're hopefully getting there, Larry.
Why do you disagree with zero gapping?
I don't disagree with it, but we're, as an electrical manufacturer, we don't want people going back and taking off the lids and taking off the blades. It's manufacturer's set, so we prefer people just to keep them as we've set them.
Okay, yeah, because I think the guys that set the tools, they're more going for the sharp urban cuts, and they need that intervention in order to achieve what it is they want to achieve.
Yes.
So, okay. Will Wahl UK kind of be reducing the gap and the time it takes for the stuff that's in America to come to England? Because the finale is a prime example. The guys in this country have been waiting for that kind of foil shaver for years and years. They probably have had to wait 3-4 years.
Yeah, agreed. And you know, just to tell everybody out there, it's not because we're lazy, and because of if you look at the sales of Finale since we launched it the week before Salon International, you know, we'd all look at each other and say, why didn't we launch this like 3 years ago? We've sold like thousands of them. So it's not because we don't want to, it's because the battery inside the American unit wasn't, it wasn't one that's registered here in the UK, or we could have used to change it and convert it and to do all that kind of stuff. There were lots of rigmarole, so we had to wait till it's right. We are bridging the gap quite a lot now with things like, you know, we're looking at the senior and we've got the 100-year anniversary coming up, so we're doing a lot of collaborations with American units in the UK market. So we're trying to bridge the gap, and we're trying to get things out. You know, I think we moved quite quick with the little hero, which is in my collection. We launched that at Barber Connect a couple of years ago. So, but you're right, with things like the Legend, with things like the Finale, which used to be the Shaver Shaper, and then you've got like the Cordless Detailer out in the UK. Every time I see somebody on a seminar, you've got all our new products. You've got the Finale, you've got the Magic Clip Cordless. So again, they're on test. You know, we have them out in the UK right now with barbers in the UK, and some who are watching this, they'll know, they'll say, yeah, we've got some in our shop. They're testing, they come back with feedback. So we have to make sure it's right.
Okay.
You don't want to launch stuff here that you launch it, you sell 1,500 units in a day or 2 days at an exhibition, then like 300 come back because they've not performed.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Sure, it's right.
Okay, so you've been in the industry doing the math probably 22 years, is that right? How long?
85, 86, so no, it's 31 years.
Oh, 31 years. That shows you how poor my maths is.
Is it 31 years?
No, 21.
No, it can't be.
95.
Come on. No. If it was 85, 86.
Oh, 85, yeah, 31.
31, yeah.
Okay, so you've been, what?
Yeah, that's right. I'm 46, 47 in January.
So you've seen some changes take place in barbering. What changes are you really excites you at the moment? What changes are you liking? What do you think is benefiting the industry right now?
In barbering?
Yes. And hairstyling, but
in
more
barbering, in the last 3 years, they have galloped the gap, not bridged the gap, they've shoved it, they've galloped it, and all of a sudden it's cool to be a barber. When you're wearing a hairdresser, I used to do really well. I was really good at men's hairdressing when I was in hairdressers, but you never wanted to be called a barber because it just weren't the coolest thing to do, and barbers had a low reputation, and you know the way that barbers looked in them days. But wow, how people have just... It's the fastest growing part of the industry. Be warned out there, because hairdressers are getting their act together, and that's a massive sleeping giant. As soon as they get their act together, cutting men's hair really well, they'll give every barber in the country a run for the money, because the good stylists out there can turn their hand to anything. But barbers, what's the most exciting thing for me is the way they've bridged the gap, the way that they're having their salons done out, the Belmont chairs, the retro Belmont chairs, you know, people having their names on them, barber poles everywhere, aprons, white shirts, ties, baseball caps, flat caps, pork pie hats, tattoos. It's fantastic. What an industry to be in. You know, you tell me that, you know, your background's, you know, fantastic photography. I've had a look at some of your work, and you are a fantastic photographer. Not probably a lot of people know that, but you're into this barbering thing, and everybody knows you as Larry the Barber. But
Man.
Larry the Barber Man, but it's you know yourself, you feel it, don't you? It's like a tidal wave. And I meet people, footballers. I go cut people's hair at football clubs, and they're like, say, you know, if I packed in football, you know, I might have a barber shop. I know Mr. Barbers, the lads, you know, Sammy Pryor and Carl and the guys down over in Cambridge and stuff, they have the franchisers. They've already got footballers that have got franchise barbershops. joiners, bricklayers, barbers, people who work in banks. They're all doing part-time barbering because they want to. There's a school up in Leeds called LaFab, Leeds Academy for Hair and Barbering, and that's where you pay, I don't know what the fee is, let's say it's £2,500, and you can learn over 2 years, but you can still do your day job. But if you want to go 1 day a week and learn how to be a barber, you can do and still do your normal day job. If you want to pack in and do your barbering in 3 months, you can go every single day. And they're packed out with people from all police officers who are doing barbering.
Interesting.
And some of the biggest salons out there, you know, I'll mention him again, he'll have to pay me when he's listened to this, but I was speaking to Johnny last week and he'd had a guy who travelled up from London because he couldn't get in with him to the Birmingham barber because he wanted him to cut his hair. But that's few and far between where people really travel a long way. Damien's right, it's that little radius. So winning an award and winning, you know, Michael and Gary, you know, hopefully they'll win the British Hairdresser of the Year, which would be amazing for us at Wahl if they did win the British Hairdresser of the Year this year. But the categories, the smaller categories like Northwestern Hairdresser of the Year, Andrea Raymond, who's the current Wahl British Barber of the Year, she's based in Cork, she's in Ireland, so unless she really promotes that well around her area, she might get 1 out of 1,000 people that'll fly to Cork for an haircut with her. Hey, by the way, if you got the money and time to do that, do it, because she can really cut hair well. But you're right, it's a 5-6 mile radius. You've got to do your marketing well on that.
Let's talk about state registration. What's your view on it? How do you think it can help the industry? And I just want to put a little bit of a spanner in the works on this question, because in America, some states are actually thinking of deregulating states because they feel like the industry could make more money that way.
That is a spanner. So, I don't know if you're aware, but I sit on the Barber Council. So part of state registration is being a state registered barber. I think state registered, you know, the Hair Council and the Barber Council have and still need to up their game. So they're not, the awareness out there is not as great, and I think that the Barber Council and the Hairdressing Council need to be a little bit more prolific in their marketing, getting out. You know, I know the Barber Council are going to sit on Wall Street at Pro Hair Manchester, so we can talk to barbers and say, okay, this is what you do for state registration, this is what you'll need to do, this is what it's going to cost you. So for 42 quid, whatever it is, if you've got the qualifications, I think you've got to do it. You know, every one of my artistic team and myself are all state registered hairdressers or barbers, whichever you're in, or both. Do I think, you know, what I'd like to have, Larry, is I would like to have in the next 5 years that unless you're a state registered hairdresser or barber, that insurance companies will not insure your salon to do any kind of work unless you're state registered. And all the state registers, it's not to make the Barber Council rich or to get wherever, it's making sure that the standard is right, that you have got some qualifications, you have had a bit of training. And can I give you an example? Yeah. So I go to Sheffield when I'm back home. I just stop off at Sheffield before I go back to my house in Barnsley, and I'll go down this road in Sheffield called Spittal Hill.
I've done the same thing.
And I'll go to my Kurdish barber there, and he'll line my beard in. It's one time he'll do it, it's absolutely immaculate. The second time I go, if he's not in or if he's in, it's all over the show. It's weird, and it's like the health and safety's wrong. And I watch him do an haircut, and I'm thinking, you've not had any training. There's no health and safety training. There's no health and hygiene training. So do I want this coming in to help the good guys out there that are doing it? Yes, I do. So I'm well behind registration. I think, as I said, Barber Council, Hair Council, you need to up the game. We need to up the game, make people more aware what you need to do. But if it's going to, look, what you're doing, you're getting education. You're paying for it. So when you're doing that, whatever you choose to do with your education that you've had a strong education. So then you get registered, then people should come to you because you've done the right thing. People turn up who've had no training. They just sit in the shop and watch them, and then we walk in and they've got a cutthroat razor in their hand. All of a sudden we sat there and I'm like that, thinking, I was European Artistic Director, Principal Global Educator, and I'm sat here with a Kurdish guy, and he's had no training, you know, and I'm like, it needs sorting out. Okay. That's not wrong against Kurds, because Miram's a really good pal of mine and he's a really good barber, but you know, there's certain aspects out there that's wrong and it needs cleaning up.
Do you ever wonder where you would be in life if you didn't have the job as European Artistic Director for Wahl?
I sometimes get a little bit scared of that. Looking at where I grew up in Barnsley, you know, I had a really good upbringing as an only child. I had pretty much what I wanted, but I was never spoilt. Anybody who knows me, I'll give you my last shirt, my last quid. I'm very generous. But I do look at friends who I grew up with and what they do, and some of the paths that they've chosen. But I have a real winner's instinct inside. So I think if I was selling potatoes door to door, if I was cutting people's grass and doing the gardens, I still think I'd be one of the best at doing it, because it's just naturally I want to be successful. I want nice things in life. So I do worry, but then I think whatever path you choose, I think I'd have done all right at. I still think I wanted to be a footballer, but I weren't good enough, and hopefully through my son, I'm not living my life through him. Everything he achieves is by his own skill and his own determination, and boy has he got some. But it's really nice to watch that as well. So things that I couldn't do, I watch him do.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I do worry a little bit about it, but I kind of keep myself conditioned by whatever he'd have done. I'd have been successful.
Okay, and what would you say your biggest achievement is here at Wahl?
I would say I get quite not emotional. I am an emotional person. Not a lot of people know me, but if you sometimes on a one-to-one with me, I am an emotional person. I can easily, you know, I like to have a good cry now and again. I think that's just the person that you are. So my biggest achievement still for me is to go into cash and carries to places like Newton Abbots, where 5 were doing a course yesterday. A lad from Barnsley, my dad were a welder, and I walk round and I see a shelf full of products with my face on the box. And that, for me, gives me great sense of achievement, satisfaction, and still, it's the leading brand, it's the leading product. It's not a gondola end bargain bin. We can't sell anymore, so we'll sell them off at half price. It's still premier products, and I've grown that range for 10 years. So that's my biggest achievement to date. And look, you know, everybody who wins awards, everybody who sits around this boardroom at Wahl, everybody who comes to us and tells us what the dreams is, you know what they all want? They all want a product range.
Yeah, for sure.
They all want a product range here, or they want to sell the products in Boots or Arvinics or Selfridges, you know. So a lot of people's biggest achievements, if you can get it, is a product range, and that's mine at Wahl.
Do you think there'll be any other person on a Wahl box?
Well, we've done 5. I wanted to push 5. So we have 2 products in 5's range on the Afro side. So we have an hairdryer power pick and we have a straightener. So that's on 5's collection. He's got his face on the box. In fact, his packaging's nicer than mine. Must sort that out with marketing. And he's got his signature on there and his nice photograph, and he deserves that. You know, I think over the next 2 or 3 years, I think if you look back 5 years ago, everything you saw, banners, posters, everything, were all Simon Shaw. But if now you see, when you open magazines, I don't see me, I see Carl Blake, I see Michael Damiano. I really promote the team as much. And so, do we extend the Academy collection and put a specialist clipper in there for Michael or a specialist clipper in there for Carl? Possibly. So these are all possibilities that we can add the range and put people's photographs on and things like that. So, yeah.
Okay, and what advice would you have for the average guy out there who wanted to potentially reach the dizzy heights that you have within the hair and hairstylist industry?
I'm a big believer in being at right place at right time. So everybody will sit now, how's that help me? How's that help me? Do you know what I mean? So I think you've got to make your own luck. You have to, when you're younger as well, in particularly, you have to go to the opening of an envelope. You have to be seen at events. You know, I had Jackie phone me today from HJ, said, we'd love you to come to fellowship luncheon. I said, oh, I'm already going with Pro Air. But I could easily not go to any of them. Because in my younger days, I went to every British Hairdressing Awards, every fellowship luncheon. I went to every awards ceremony to be there, to be seen. And it's what you call like your breaking hours, the hours that you put in to get yourself known. So my advice to people out there would be, you need to be seen out there, but you need to be nice.
Okay, so it's basically, it's not a magical, mystical thing. You're saying that luck is pretty much preparation and opportunity always presents itself if you're prepared.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, we have a big saying here at Wahl. You know, Hannah will tell you that I'm a nightmare for being prepared. You know, I tend to get there the day before where I'm doing stuff, if possible. Like on Monday morning, I was here at 7:30. We didn't start till 10, but them 2.5 hours were just a finer tuning, and then it made my bit easy. I can just do haircuts. That's easy. It's making sure that there's magazines are all fresh and the newspapers are new and the fridges are full of old drinks and the heating's on and the aircon's right and all the towels are prepared and the room smells good and all our point of sale's good. That's the prep side.
Okay, so I'm going to paraphrase what you said: by failing to plan, you're planning to fail.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So where do we see you next, Simon? This interview's taking place in the middle of November at the Academy. Where can barbers come along to learn about your new range of products and rub shoulders with you, if you like?
Well, we've got a couple more courses coming on here in Wahl Academy. With not only myself, but we've got Michael coming down and Fiver coming down. We've also got events up in Leeds at La Fab, one of our subsidiary academies. I'm out in Leeds on the 12th up at Barber with Michael and Gary, Yuka and Young. And then just different, like I'm in Hull at Aston and Finch's on the 21st, evening seminar, so there's still tickets available for that. Where else am I? Oh yeah, if I look at our website, Larry, all the dates on there, but I know I'm at Hull on the 21st, which is the next big-ish event. All the others are like the smaller stuff that's already sold out. But there is a few events still available where you can come up and see me and do it. And I love it when, you know, the young lad that came in there today, he left last.
Okay, from King's Lynn.
Correct.
Yeah.
And he wrote his number on his review sheet, and I walked in by accident, and he said to the Scottish guy, if he ever phoned me, it'd be like best thing that's ever happened to me. And that, like, I'm emotional now that I'm an hairdresser, a barber, who has a big responsibility and a lot of power, but a lot of responsibility with that. The responsibility points is when you hear something like that, I'll make sure in the next 2 days that lad gets a phone call from me, a text off me, and I'll make sure next time I'm in Kings Lane, I'll pop into his salon and say, how you doing, pal? You did a great day on that course. Because if he thinks by me phoning him it's one of the best things that's ever happened to him, then I'm going to make sure that I fulfil that for him. And that's, you know, when I hear stuff like that, it makes you feel fantastic, but very humble as well.
Okay, yeah, by contrast, as a lad from Barnsley, in your own words, for someone to hold you in such high esteem,
yeah,
it would touch.
I'm humbled by it, so I'll make sure that I fetch him back down to earth and me back down to earth by saying, hiya pal, how you doing? I'm here and I'm not that special, I'm not somebody, I am approachable and you can come and see me, but it was really nice to hear your comments and this is why I phoned you and this is why, you know, I popped into next time I'm in Kings Lynn, I'll come and see you and we'll have a beer together. And as you heard there, they're our end users.
Yeah, that's right.
We have a great connection with the end user. A lot of companies, you can't ever know your end user. You know, they buy the products off the shelf, but we've a great thing here at Wahl where we have the academy and we have the shows where you can touch people and say, how are you doing? Do you like it? Or why don't you like it? Or why do you like it? You know, it's great for us to do that.
Great feedback. Simon Shaw, thank you very much for giving me your time. I've learnt a hell of a lot about you that I didn't know otherwise. I've only seen that kind of corporate side where you're on stage and you're stressed by everything that's going on around you. So I'm sure you've enlightened a lot of people and they've seen, I guess, in some respects, the human side of you.
Yeah. Larry, you know, you coming down as well, watching your preparation, is that whilst I'm finishing off my course there and I'm seeing the hours preparation that you've put in with all the cameras and stuff, I knew I was going to have a good interview today. You know, we spoke last week. Do you want to know your questions? No. we don't stumble, and your preparations made my interview really good as well. So I have lots of people wanting to interview me, and the stutter and the stammer, and they're looking for the next question. This has been like the easiest interview I've done because of your preparation as well. So it's been a pleasure to interview for you, mate, as well.
Thank you very much, Simon.
All right, pal.